Yeah, these things come into play after everyone's incomes are investigated by the eighth house. That money gets shifted over to the 12th house, right? So I'm gonna get there, but let me just finish the homes, charitable organizations, government relief, so you understand why it happens that way in that cycle. And it's because government relief, charitable organizations, now when you think about it, the 12th house is fluid, right? It's about surrender. It's about we're in the shadows about everything is pretty much, right? But it's like it's real hands off. Just like you hear Pisceans are only 75%. I mean, they're only 25% here, 75% there in the other world. You know what I'm saying? It's like Pisces are more ego-less than they are egotistic. This is how the house operates. So it's like, let's say you, just like the insurance thing, right? Let's say, now let's go down the line, eighth house, so you can definitely understand what I'm saying here. Let's say you buy a house. You and your spouse, you buy a house in the eighth house. You know, y'all work, y'all have careers, y'all can afford the house, y'all buy it. A couple of your peers, they buy houses on the same block too. Couples, y'all all coupled out, y'all all bought, all three couples bought houses, right? One of those couples loses the house, foreclosure, whatever. We don't want to get into, we ain't trying to make nobody feel bad here. But they lose their house, right? They have a shelter system to go to. Depending on your city and state, again, it's a locality thing, right? Depending on your city and your state, these people who lost their house will have a shelter institution to go to so they can get back on their feet and come back out in an Aries type fashion and embark on whatever endeavor they choose to embark on. Now, whether they want to repeat that again, that's up to them. That is a 12th house thing. Did you self-renew or are you self-undoing? That's totally up to them, but it's a 12th house thing, right? You lose that in the eighth. Eighth house is about losses and gains. 12th house is about loss, period. But more about surrender loss. Can you do without the loss? Can you live without the loss, right? And sometimes you become rich in the loss. Or you gain with the loss. You get what I'm saying? Not rich, but you get what I'm saying. You can get rich too, but I don't want to confuse this. I want to make this as clear cut and concise as possible. But that's what happened. You lose something in the eighth house. Refuge is found in the 12th house. Same thing goes with your business. You fell off, you lost your business, you're unemployed, you go down to HRA, public assistance. They should have some type of resources that can guide you in the correct direction of where there'll be some type of work, even if it's what do you call them, temp agencies, right? Some type of way somebody will be able to plug you in. Again, depending on your locality, the strength of your city and your state, right? But it's located in the 12th house. These things happen in the 8th house. The refuge gets found in the 12th house. Nursing homes. You age to the point of potential sickness. You'll have a place to be. Hospices and stuff like that. This is all found in the 12th house, right? Prisons. You fall by the wayside when it comes to employment. Some people take a different route. They say, you know what, I'm not going to starve. And they see crime as an opportunity. They take it. If they get caught, they go where? To prison, right? Pay their debt to society. And they say, look, okay, I self-renew. I get stronger, 3 hots in a cot. I renew my mind. I read a few books while I'm in there. I might get spiritual. It's Bible. The first thing you see when you go to prison is a Bible, right? Spirituality, all of the subconscious mind, self-talk, intuition, psychic ability. You start talking to yourself. You know, I ain't have to do that. You start reflecting. Oh, I could do this. Some people, jail is a criminal school. It all depends on the person, right? But you come back up in that Aries fashion. It's an in and out. You come in and you go out. It's supposed to be better though, right? That's what the 12th house does. It's relief. It's a refuge. That's what it's for. So it's more along the line of federal. The reason why I'm saying this is because after this is how the process goes. In the 8th house, after everyone's revenues are investigated, the GDP gets investigated. It gets sent to the 12th house, and this is where they do the whole federal thing, the whole Congress thing, and they say, okay, based upon the findings that Scorpion energy, that the investigation that the 8th house found, right, the research that was delivered to us, we're going to create 12th house new programs, right? Subconscious mind programs. That's what subconscious mind is, programming. You programming your brain. We're going to create new designs which come out in what? The form of policy, come out in the form of laws, rules, and regulations. But it's based upon the findings, right? And when these things happen, we push them out like what? Every 4 and 8 years in election cycles, it gets that's where the politics comes in, right? So these things come out and they get distributed onto the people, right? Not only that, the allocation, just like I said, the allocation gets allocated to certain people. So then we come full circle. But is where you see the relationship between these two houses, how they differ, by how they work hand in hand. Now, you may have not heard this explained this way, right? But it's been going on like this for a long time, all right? And the way or the reason why secrets come involved with these types of things is because these is the heaviest things that happens in the world. But these secrets these days are more revealed in politics. And not only that, they've always been revealed in politics. But there's always some type of veil, right? There's always some behind the scenes stuff, or this person gets away with that, this person comes out unscathed and stuff like that. All of this stuff can be explained through the universe as well. However, it's really heavily between these two houses, the relationship that ties them together, and at the same time separates them. This is where the push and the pull comes from, right? So now just think about it. Let's go back to the beginning of the video where I said you got the federal level expressing themselves saying, look, you guys are being safe havens. You guys are saving these people. You're harboring these people, these types of people, However, that's talking is like a boundary expression, right? These people can, these people can't. But this was determined based upon some type of information that was sent from the 8th house to the 12th house come every election time. And I'm pretty sure it gets updated in between time. I'm pretty sure they're very, very on to what's going on a everyday level. You know what I'm saying? As much as they possibly can. You can imagine how challenging it must be to track all of this stuff. But nonetheless, they have their conferences, they have their press runs, and this is what you see. This is what is being talked about right now, right? So it goes back to the same people who have passed this information to the people who are expressing this. Some, not all, but some are like, well, you want to do this? Let's do it. You know what I'm saying? If you trying to come at us like we're supposed to abide by what you're saying, your new rules and regulations, then we're not for it. You know what I'm saying? And then this is where the secrets come in, because in the local stance, in the locality situation, the secrets are like this. You heard the things that I read off, right? Joint resources, other people's money, partners, business. This is all information that is inside of the United States. I'm speaking from a USA point of view, right? It's all the information that's inside of the United States. So it's like, we know who we are, we know who we're in cahoots with, and we know who we're in business with, we know who we're in bed with, you know what I'm saying? And this is where we stand, and if you try to come to our territory, we'll break your face. Not to be violent. All right, let me choose a different wording, but it's going to be something. You know what I'm saying? Now, it does not necessarily mean that everyone in the United States knows what's happening in all of this 8th house construct. It could just simply mean that those people who are in power, they know, they're in the know of how this thing runs, who is who, who's going to be who next, who's going to move up in more power, and the have-nots, or the people who have less power, they will have not, and they will continue having less power because you don't prefer them. It's just it's a boundary thing. Even inside of itself, it's still a boundary thing. It's a hierarchical standpoint, especially when you get to the Capricorn thing, but I'm not going to mention that because it's going to take too much away from this video. But these are the types of secrets that are held inside of the 8th house, right? So one might, to further analyze this, one might say, oh, well, the city and the states harboring illegal immigrants is a secret that has been held for years. You know what I'm saying? But now it's just more emphasis put on it because it's more of an issue now for whatever reason. You know what I'm saying? Again, it's much more based upon the information that was found in the 8th house that was passed on to the 12th house. So this occurs, right? Boom. That's the attitude there. And as a locality who has cities and states that says this is a nation, this is how we started out, these are our boundaries, you know what I'm saying? We don't operate like Russia, you know what I'm saying? Or we don't operate with Russia, or we don't operate with China, but then it gets to the 12th house, right? And this is where the deception comes in. Right? Because you might have people in the 12th house who are in the shadows. And the next thing you know, a cargo ship comes in. They might have like 12 illegal immigrants on a cargo ship. They come into the country. They go directly to some people who know they're coming. They get housed. They get jobs that pay half than what the locality pays, or the national average wage pays to legitimate citizens. And next thing you know, they're chilling, right? But this was done by a foreign entity. This was more like a covert operation, if you will. You know what I'm saying? Or it could be that somebody in a locality in the States has enough power and enough pull inside of the 8th house who says, look, all you got to do is get out here, and I got you. I got you set up when you get out here. Don't even worry about it, because this is a sanctuary state, and we're going to take care of you. We're going to make sure you're okay. You don't got to go back. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got this. We got you. You know what I'm saying? It could be either or. But it's a sense of deception that goes on because it's the 12th house. It's like, it's enabling the foreign or the foreigner to influence or to come to the nation, right? So especially when you're in the rule-making business and you're designing and creating new programs that starts at the federal level and comes down to the state and city level, you have the ability to alter certain situations to make them favor the people that you're in cahoots with, right? So you might be, because again, contracting overseas, right? Even when places that we're in war at, there's contractors there making contracts with people in, Middle Eastern, everywhere. You know what I'm saying? You don't necessarily know what's going on. The state and the city don't necessarily know what's going on. The NSA, the FBI, they're the last people to know as well. The military might know what's going on. The military knows what's going on, but certain people in the military know everything or more than others, right? And then again, the White House knows what's going on. That's about as far as national jurisdiction you're going to get, probably. You know what I'm saying? And then they determine how much of that information they're going to filter down to you, and a lot of the times it comes in the forms of policy and rules and regulation, laws, right? So when the new laws come out, the new conferences come up, and I've had political discussions myself with people about this. It's like, yo, what do you think about X, Y, and Z? And it's because they heard a press conference, right? And it's like some people get rattled by that, and they're like, yo, I don't approve, or I approve. What do you think is next, X, Y, Z? Y'all have had political discussions, I'm pretty sure, as well at home. You know what I'm saying? And so it's kind of like revealed in there. The deception is kind of revealed in some of these conferences, because it's like the locals can be like, what? And then you be like, okay, so how are you? And then everybody starts debating. How are you taking money from the 8th house and giving it to people who are not supposed to be here through the 12th house? You know what I'm saying? And then you got people in federal, their argument right now I'm talking about is, well, that's what we're saying, that people here are getting allocated funds from the 8th house and they're not even supposed to be here. So we're taking money from the 8th house, we're allocating it to the federal budget to send federal police to go in and get these people and round them up. You know what I'm saying? So it's a secret war, but it's being revealed in front of us. There's not really much more secrets to it right now, and it's really because Pluto and Saturn is inside of Capricorn right now. A lot of unearthing is occurring, right? But everything that I just mentioned is largely associated with the 8th and the 12th house, and that's how the process goes. That's how it happens. So you can hear it sometimes. So it goes like this, right? When you hear like these ridiculous things that tax money is being spent on, you as a citizen, as a locality, you might say, okay, you just crossed the boundary with that. your Scorpio tactics, your Scorpio instincts will kick in. Wherever Scorpio is inside of your natal chart will come into play too. But not only that, let's get with the eighth house. Wherever your eighth house is, that's where you're really going to be discriminative if there's a discriminative bone in your body. It's not going to be your 12th house. It's going to be where your eighth house is. Like, hold on, wait a minute. You mean I've been paying taxes? Part of my taxes goes to that? Like a video for the swim team that costs $50,000? I could take my iPhone and do a video for the swim team for $50. Like, what are y'all doing? I'm in the wrong profession and you telling me I should go in government? You understand what I'm saying? I don't mean to make a joke out of this, because this gets real serious and intense with people, with certain people. You know what I'm saying? But this is the clarity. This is to clarify what happens between the 8th and the 12th house, and how these things coincide with each other, how these houses work hand in hand. It's always been like this. It's always been like this. It's going to continue to be like this. But again, there are game changers, and this is where if you was to ask me, I've said this, I've hinted to it before. I think the biggest difference between these houses is just the quality of the signs. It's fixed and it's mutable. So where the locality is fixed, right? They're like, this is America. You know, Scorpio is more like, this is Sparta. Like, this is us, not them. Like, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? And that mentality is fixed when the 12th house and the Pisces are like, well, these guys are not so bad. You know what I'm saying? Russia's not so bad. You know what I mean? And it's just like, 8th house is like, what do you mean? We've been going to war with these guys since the beginning. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I'm just putting out an example out there to let you know, like, this is how the mutable quality of the 12th house comes into play. And we're like, I don't know if you ever heard of like government intervention or international intervention rather. And it's where certain policies in a different country work, but the same thing that is being addressed in the States is a challenge. It's not working in the States. So these two things are working differently in different parts of the world. And what'll happen is government, scholars included, will go and study these other cultures, will go and study these other countries, have talks and discussions and sit downs with their country leaders and listen to them and get consult with them and say, well, listen, how does this work for y'all? Like, how do y'all actually do it? And then the next thing you know, when the next bills and the next things get passed through, you see something new or you observe something new that you haven't seen in American politics before, or that you haven't seen implemented in America before. And you're like, where did that even come from? Or if you spot it, you know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, wow. Lo and behold, it came from Japan. You know what I'm saying? I've seen this. So that's another way that the 12th house operates through federal government. You know what I'm saying? They're like, well, we didn't necessarily, now if you go read through the documentation and everything, or if you're in the know, you know what I'm saying? But if you're not looking for it, or if you don't care about it, if you know, these things just change and shift right in front of your face. And the 12th house is just like a chameleon. Like, they're not answering anything if nobody's asking. You know what I'm saying? It's confidential information as far as they're concerned.